Hello, boys and girls. It's Mrs. Ostrike, and today we'll be working on lesson 9.2 in your Go Math book that is located on page 501. Okay. Relate hundredths and decimals. Our essential question is, how can you record hundredths as fractions and decimals? Yesterday we worked on recording tenths as fractions and decimals, and now you can also record hundredths as fractions and decimals. Unlock the problem. In 2001 Summer Olympics, the winning time in the men's 100-meter butterfly race was only 1/100th seconds faster than the second place time. What decimal represents this fraction of a second? Okay, let's first click on circle the number you would need to use. So we need to use this number, 1/100th. Okay, one way to do it, use a model and a place value chart. Okay, we're going to start with shading in. Let's see if I can erase that. Shading in 1/100th. That's only one little dot here. 1/100th, because this is a 100th grid. Okay, so now let's write 1/100 as a fraction. 1/100. Okay. Now write it as a decimal. Complete the place value chart. 1/100th is 1/100th. So even though we're working just with decimals here, we always put a 0 in the ones place. So this is a 0 in the ones, your decimal point, no tenths, and 1/100th. So now let's write it as a decimal. 0 in the one place, a decimal point, 0 tenths, and 1/100th. Okay. Another way. Use a number line. Label the number line with equivalent decimals. Locate the point 1/100th. Here's a number line, and it's split up into hundredths. Okay, so to begin with, this is 0/100th. This is 1/100th written as a fraction, and this is 1/100th written as a decimal. This is 10/100ths, and this is how you write 10/100ths. 10, the 0 goes out to the hundredths place. When you're writing hundredths, you have to make sure that you fill the hundredths place. This is 20/100ths, and this is how it's written as a decimal. 30/100ths is 0 ones, 0.3. That now says 3/10ths. Now this says 30/100ths. 40/100ths, 0.40. That's 40/100ths. 50/100ths, 60/100ths, point. If you don't add the 0, this is now 6/10ths. We want 60/100ths. 0.70 is 70/100ths. 0.80. And how to write 90/100ths? 0.90. 100/100ths is equal to 1. Okay, so what decimal names the same amount as 1/100th? 0.01. If you read that, that's 1 in the hundredths place. So that's 1/100ths. So the winning time was 1/100th seconds faster. Okay, let's go to the second page. 502. Alicia won her 400-meter freestyle race by 4 and 25/100 seconds. How can you write this mixed number as a decimal? So we have a whole number here, and we have a fraction, but now we want to write it as a decimal. So shade the model to show 4 and 25/100ths. So we have 4 holes. So we're shading in this entire hundredths, because this is 1/100th. This is 2/100ths, shaded in. This is 3/100ths. Make sure you shade it in. This is 4/100ths. And now we only have 25/100ths. So we're shading in 10 is here. Another 10 is here. It's 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there we just shaded in 25/100ths. 25 little blocks. So now let's write 25/100ths. What are they asking us? As a decimal. So it's 4 holes, 0.25/100ths. You should be writing this in your Go Math book. Let's go to the next one. Complete the place value chart. Think. Look at the model above. 4 and 25/100ths is equal to 4 holes and 2/10ths and 5/100ths. So we're going to add a 4 in the ones. There's 4 ones, and there's 25/100ths. So that's how you write it. 4 and 25/100ths, which is equal to, if you had to write it as a mixed number, 4 and 25/100ths. So you're just taking the mixed number and rewriting it as a decimal. How do you read 4 and 25/100ths? 4 and 25/100ths. You need to, this is very important, you need to add the THS at the end of 100, because that shows you that it is a decimal. It's less than 1. 4 is 4 holes and 25/100ths. Another way is to use the number line. Label the number line with equivalent mixed numbers and decimals. Locate the point 4 and 25/100ths. So we're starting our number line at 4. It's broken up into hundredths: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. It's broken up into hundredths. So now this is 4 and 10/100ths. So you'll write it as a whole number 4.10, 1, 0, 10/100ths. This is 4 and 20/100ths. So you write it as 4.20. Now let's look at this. 4 and 20/100ths is equivalent to 4, if we take both these zeros away, and 2/10ths. If you're working in tenths, you'd write it as 2/10ths. If you're working in hundreds, you'll work it as 20/100ths, but they are equivalent. This is 4.25/100ths. This is 4.30/100ths. And you can keep going. Okay, so they want you to write it as a decimal. So 4.25 is the same as 4.4 and 25/100ths. This is written as a fraction, and this is written as a decimal. So Alicia won her race by 4.25 seconds. Okay. On your own, you will complete the Think Central assignment.